It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
First one is from Michael. Michael said, Roth IRA versus IRA. I'm assuming it means traditional. And this is a pretty simple question. Are the yearly tax write-offs from the IRA greater than not paying taxes on the gains in the Roth? He's asking the age-old question, which one is better? And I'll kind of tag on here at the end. How do I know?
Yeah, it depends. I hate answering questions with questions, but really there's more variables that are needed. And let me go ahead and give you the decision items you need to be considering. First of all, we love Roth because Roth assets, whether it's IRAs, whether it's the 401ks, 403bs, what's in the brochure is that these things grow completely tax-free. You put in after-tax money, meaning that you didn't take a tax deduction to create these assets, but once you put them in these tax-favored Roth accounts, they grow all their dividends, all their interest, all their capital appreciation is going to be completely tax-free. That's a pretty valuable thing, especially if you're a person who's young. Think about a 20-year-old that every dollar they put into a Roth IRA at age 20 has the potential of becoming $88 by the time they're 65.
Yep.
That means that $87 of growth is not going to be taxed by our favorite taxing uncle. That creates a lot of opportunity for young people because that exponential growth, we know that's what you're going for, is that compounding interest growth is going to be allowed to work uninterrupted by taxes. So that's super powerful. But there is an alternative path you need to take into account. And this usually happens as your income keeps going higher and higher and higher. And the fact that you'll notice that the tax man starts taking
Takes a little bit more.
Because we have a progressive tax system. And yes, there are people like Jeff Bezos who pay zero income taxes because they'd rather pay their attorneys millions of dollars versus paying the IRS what they should pay in income taxes. So I'm not denying that there are billionaires who are skirting taxes, but the reality is your typical small business owner, probably that factory down the street that's in your community, they're paying lots of taxes. Anybody who's successful is paying lots of taxes with a few exceptions that I know makes it into the brochure. And that does lead to a point that if you realize that over 50% or getting close to 50% of your income is going to taxes, as powerful as the Roth is, you might think about, well, wow, I don't know that I'm going to be making this income forever. And we are in a progressive tax system, so tax rates are much lower when your income's lower. What about the fact that maybe I make this income where I'm in the top tier tax bracket right now, but when I retire in 15 years, I'm going to be able to, be in a much lower tax bracket, go through much lower, and pay much lower taxes. In that situation, it probably does benefit you to take the tax deduction now, meaning make it a traditional contribution into whether it's an IRA, a simple, a 401k, a 403b, a 457. All those things maybe should be traditional so that you can avoid the current super high income tax rates because you're in a high income situation. And then when you retire, you can start taking that money out at hopefully what you're estimating are much lower tax rates. And you're not even required to take money from your IRA accounts until you reach age 72. And that's even up for negotiations. Right now, the government's considering pushing 72 even higher. So there's going to be a lot of flexibility to see if you can play the tax game.
Now, in true Money Guy fashion, that's, by the way, fantastic answer in terms of which one is better. We, here at the Money Guy Show, operate under the assumption it shouldn't be neither or. We think you should do both when it comes to building assets. Now, you can't fund both a traditional IRA and a Roth. Well, I guess you can, but you can only go up to the annual limit. But you might be in a fantastic situation where you have the opportunity to build pre-tax assets and get that current year tax benefit through a 401k or a 403b or some type of simple IRA, and also have the ability to build Roth assets through doing a Roth IRA or doing backdoor Roths. So if you have the means, don't do one or the other. Try to figure out how you can build both those buckets so you give yourself maximum flexibility when you get to retirement.
And then one last point, a lot of people don't realize this. When you choose Roth, because you're young, you're not in the highest tax bracket, your employer's contributions are always going to be in that tax-deferred pre-tax bucket. It's just because, remember, they're taking a tax deduction, giving you that benefit. So just that feature means that even if you choose Roth, when you actually reach retirement age, whatever age that is, you're going to find that you already have a little bit, probably in both buckets,
Yep.
because of that employer match too.